Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it might be where you are out there. Welcome back to the live stream. Where's the button?
Greetings, my excellent friend.
It's so good to see you. Today is December 19th, 2019. My name is Jeff Fritz, and we're going to write a little bit of code today. How's it going there, chat room? Hello, hello. Let me say hello to everybody who's over here. Tagaron is here. Good afternoon, my friend. Hugo. Greetings. Job in PA. D.D. Walsh. Hello. How's it going? There she is. Just walked into the room. Job in PA. Good morning. It's a little bit rainy for you. My apologies. I hope you have a good day anyway. Motown Andy. Coding Bandit. PowerShell Freak is here. Hello, hello. Yeah, donuts for Dee. Oh yes. Today's the day? What day? I don't know. Our Eternal Dev Coder, good morning to you. Jason Bach is here. Good morning, my friend. Good to see you. Two Wolf, good morning. Copra Coding. How's it going, Janescu? So, I've got my, yeah, that's right. I've got my Cobra Kai hat on here because I will have no mercy on the components today. We spent a day yesterday talking about version numbering and how to go through that process and what's involved and what makes a good version number and how to automate that and all the different ways that you can set version numbers and all the different places that you can set version numbers in .NET and how confusing a bit of it is. And I think we landed on a really good solution using the NerdBank Git versioning mechanisms yesterday. That worked out really nicely, and I did some more tinkering with it yesterday after stream, and I'm really happy with where we landed with that. So going forward, I think we're going to use that to go through and explain a little bit. Tagaron says, thanks for the work with the NerdBank versioning yesterday. Had not known it existed and now seems to solve some of the problems we have to handle at the moment, and thought about writing some automation ourselves. Very cool. That's great to hear, Tagaron. Happy that worked out for you. Yeah, I'll get that video up on YouTube. I've got all the videos saved over on YouTube for the last month and a half, and I'm going to start releasing them very quickly over there, so they're visible. I'm not going to make all of them announce that they're available, but I'll start pushing them out and making them available for everybody to watch. Hey, President, not sure. Good to see you. So, no mercy for these components today. We're going to go through fast, and we're going to build some components. Hopefully, we get through at least 2. I want to get into the repeater component, and maybe we'll get into hopefully we'll get into a second, but I want to at least get into the repeater component today. Yes, it is 6 days to Christmas, and something arrived. Something arrived at my house yesterday, and I want to share this moment with you. Let me make sure I don't show my address here. So, a little box arrived. This isn't just going to be server-side Blazor. This is just going to be Blazor. So whether it's server-side, client-side, it'll all work, Eternal Dev Coder. Yes. You like the green screen? Thank you. Thank you, Philippe. Is Blazor production ready yet? Let me park that question. Oh my goodness.
Svava Blount just resubscribed for 15 months.
Svava, thank you so much for that resub. And we're going to make another donation to St. Jude. Let me show you. I got a little box yesterday, and it had a cool little card in it. C# Fritz, just a little something from the team. We want to make sure you think of us often. Happy holidays, the live coders. That is so cool. I never expected anything like this. Thank you to all the folks out there that participated in helping out with this. Even if you didn't, thank you so much. To get a card from your stream team, that is so cool to see. Thank you. And there's a thing in here. Look at. I don't know what this is. I have no idea what this is. Oh my lord. Is this what I think this is? I don't know what to say to this. Is this really? Is that really toilet paper with the team logo printed on it? Are you kidding? I don't know what to say about that. What are you? What? What? Not sure if that is again. Are you kidding? What? Are you kidding? I don't know what this means. Live coders. Toilet paper. Okay. That's hysterical. Well, who doesn't go there, do their best thinking? Well, that's right, Stelzy. Soap made with the logo. That could be. That should be merch, says PowerShell Freak. Oh my goodness. M. Holloway, thank you so much. 10 months with us. Look at that.
Holloway 24 just resubscribed for 10 months. I did it for the TP.
That is the ultimate troll Christmas gift. You're not wrong. Is that Ogardenix? Thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate you joining us. Next up, Live Coders, the Flamethrower. There it is. I've got Live Coder's the pin, Live Coder's the keyboard. Yes, there is a Live Coder's keyboard. It's a little Bluetooth keyboard, but yes. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for that. That's funny. Let me come back to the questions that we had there about Blazor. Eternal Dev Coder was asking if we're doing work on server-side Blazor. If you're building components for Blazor, they'll work server-side or client-side. So we're building components that'll work in both places. In fact, before I get into building any more components, I've had a server-side Blazor project here to demonstrate what we've built. I'm also, let me push a client-side project out there so you can see that the same project, the same components, work properly in both locations. This is a good question. Let me make sure that that's something that's easy to demo and show. The next question was from MXG TV. Is Blazor production ready yet? There's, as we just saw with Eternal Dev Coder, there's two different types of Blazor. There's server-side and there's client-side. And the client-side you'll hear folks refer to as Blazor for WebAssembly. Server-side runs on top of ASP.NET 3 and later. So it'll work on ASP.NET Core 3.1. It works on ASP.NET Core 3 and later. So it'll work on top of ASP.NET Core 3.1, and which is a long-term supported release, an LTS release. It is production ready. It will receive full support from Microsoft, and you will get support for at least the next 3 years with a year of transition on the end. So technically 4 years, but you're going to get 3 with that last year as a transition year where folks will help you transition to the next LTS version that's available. So that said about Blazor server side, Blazor for WebAssembly is not yet in an RTM mode. It's still in a preview release, and they expect to have the Blazor for WebAssembly available in May. About that time frame is when they're looking at. Thank you so much for the question, MXG and Eternal Dev Coder. I want to make sure we highlight those because it is important that everybody understands where we are in the support lifecycle because there are multiple Blazors there. Let me play. This is Cyan today from Music to Code By. There we go. This is music that's been scientifically engineered. It's been designed to get you in the groove, get you in the flow, so that whatever task it is that you're working on, you can just be productive and get it done. mtcb.pwop.com, written by our friend, Mr. Carl Franklin, and real easy to get your hands on. Execute the music command in the chat room, and you can get a link to that and get your copy today. There you go. There's information about the music. Thank you, M. Holloway. Appreciate that. Oh my gosh, that's hysterical. Live Coder's toilet paper. Oh my gosh. What do you say to that? Oh my gosh. 99% sentiment here in the chat room right now. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Fuel Stable says I wasn't smart enough for WCF. That's an interesting point because my perspective on WCF, that was the Windows Communication Foundation. I think the FedEx guy is here. Because the dog is going crazy. The confusing thing about WCF was they made it so powerful, so extensible, covered so many different things that it was confusing. And it confused a lot of people. And because it had so much configuration, and it wasn't opinionated about anything, it didn't give you a this just works set of features. It was very difficult for a lot of folks to follow and be productive with. Yeah, guard dog protection from the Humanus Postalis. That's right. Let me take a look. I'm going to bring up the channel reward request queue here. There we go. Pull this over here. I'm trying a different headset today. This is one of my on-the-road headsets. It's an Audio Technica headset. The folks at mobilize.net helped me out with these. Thank you so much, Dee Dee. But this is the same type of headset that sportscasters use, where it's got an XLR input on the one side, it's got a 1/4 inch for listening on the other side. So I've got this plugged in so that I can use this for the voice mod requests. So I have this secondary microphone that's coming in on a separate channel for that. So while what you're hearing is coming from here, when I switch over, and if we have any voice VOD requests, like that one from Simo. Oh my gosh, here we go. We're gonna go right into this. We'll be on this headset microphone here, and we're going to do it live. We're gonna do it live right now. Let's do this. I have a voice VOD request. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. All right, we can do this. Oh boy. Here we go. It's gonna get crazy right off the bat here. Now, actually, what I should be able to do and still have a really good signal, I should turn on all the buttons here for the voice mod app. Where is it? Voice mod is over here. You should. Yeah, there we go. You can hear me now over this one. All right. There's a little bit of slapback because of the way I have things wired here, so I'm going to turn that down on my headphones so I don't hear the slapback. And then we have a request for me to go to Thanos mode. Oh boy. All right, here we go. It is, where's my button? There it is. Oh yeah.
We're gonna destroy fully half, 50% of the code that's out there. Everything will be decimated, destroyed. And you will only be left with the appropriate code, the proper code, the Blazor code. Motown Andy, thank you for the 12 months. 1 year, you've got a propeller on your hat now, and I am the Mad Titan. I am Thanos. Right. Alright, here we go. Let me set the 5-minute timer. Let's do this. When last we were here, we were working on version numbers. The next version we're going to release is going to be 0.2 of this. And it's going to include the next set of controls that we built. We have our first preview. It has that first control, that proof of concept that this works. The next one, the next release that we'll do, 0.2, will include a couple more of these data controls, and they're in select mode. Too creepy for me, says President Not Sure. Not creepy. Not creepy at all. M. Holloway asks, do I ever voice VOD for team meetings? I haven't used this, but I have done face rig when I've been on the phone with Channel 9. That's totally a thing. Channel 9 loves it when you mess with video with them. Yeah, this is the dark side. Let's keep going. Alright, so this is how we're doing versioning now. We have this version JSON that has the version stem, the name of the version right here. And we're going to start adding more controls here. Now, the question we had earlier from MXG was around, well, how does this work for client-side Blazor? Or was it Eternal Dev Coder? Asking, do we do client-side and server-side Blazor? And right now, I just have the After Blazor server-side project here that references and adds the list view component server-side. Well, let's make Blazor work client-side with WebAssembly with our new list view component as well. So let's add that project. And I'm going to choose Blazor app. It's also right here, but because it's in my frequently used list of templates, it's right here. We'll choose next. Where do I want to put this? Yeah, let's call this After Blazor Client Side. After Blazor Client Side. And we'll see how this goes. It's Thanos, the dark cult leader, says Janesco. No. After hearing these voice mods from you, I suddenly realize I'm here for my soothing voice. Then the code. It's jarring hearing me this way. DJ Bass, I can understand it. I get it. I totally do. That's why it's only 5 minutes with us. We got about another minute and a half. And I need to put together a component that shows any of the current things that we're doing, any of the current channel redemptions on screen. I don't have new templates for the WebAssembly part. You're right, I don't. They're not here. Let me go get the new templates. No, that's not where they are. Let me open a new browser. And... no. Blazor.net. That's the homepage for this. Get started. And there's a new install for them right here. So the Blazor templates are in the same place as your .NET command line templates. So let me copy this. And I'll open a command line. And I'll install the new templates. Is that dark coding in C#? Asks Tam716. Nope. Nope. This is Blazor. This is a new user interface framework that combines Razor templating with C# and can run in the browser. Blazor. So Blazor WebAssembly, huh? I don't care about it being ASP.NET Core hosted. That's kind of interesting because client-side WebAssembly doesn't need a server-side piece that's running. You can host this on a static website. And that's the end of our time with VoiceMod.
And we're back. How's that? We're back over here now, DJ Bass. Is that better? You like the smooth sounds of my voice? Let's see. Keyboard Featherwing. There we go. Much better. Little dev board shopping. Getting a Pi device. Nice. That was delightful, says Solvan. You need that voice mod for customer support. That would be cool. Boom boom. Oh my gosh, boom boom. That's very polite of you to say. That's very polite of you to say. I do have some work I need to finish. I was reading The Invisible Man on stream a couple months ago now. I need to finish editing those, publishing those, and finish reading the book. We're working on that. Not sure if the voice or the music was more offsetting. Let me know. We can turn off the ambient on that. That's totally a thing that we can do. All right, so I have the client-side version here that we can add the list view component we finished previously down here. And actually, I should be able to... Oh, and let me get the music to code by running again. It was Cyan we were listening to. There it goes. So let me add the reference. It's the exact same reference to my Blazor Web Forms components that I'm going to use. And I can write the exact same stuff inside of these components that we have down here in the server side. So I'm actually going to grab the exact same contents of this index page and copy it in up here for my client side. I'm going to get rid of... I don't need that survey prompt. Nope, goodbye. Nav menu I should get rid of at some point, but I'm not ready to do that yet. Fetch data I don't need. counter I don't need. Do I still have a nav menu here with stuff in it? What's in it? Counter and fetch data, even though they're not actually here anymore. I'm just going to comment these out. Let's clean up the sample here just a little bit. Right, I don't really have a navigation for these yet. It might make sense to do something around navigation, but I don't. It's not a thing yet. So control samples list view is where I had placed my list view here. And really, I'm going to do the exact same things. I'm going to do the exact same things in the client-side version of this, the WebAssembly version. Let me add one more reference here I need for our shared sample objects. And these are just some business logic, some data models that we're going to interact with here. So let me create control samples list view folders here, and we'll copy in the exact same projects. I'm sorry, the exact same Razor pages here, right? I'm going to Control C and Control V, and it should just work. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to say debug start new instance on the after Blazor client side project, and let's see if we can get this working. Maybe not. What did I do? Oh, I don't have my import statements. Need those. Gonna need some using Blazor Web Forms components, using shared sample objects dot models. Hopefully that works. Thank you for the follow. Nove dies? Is that supposed to be like I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. But welcome in, helping us reach our follower goal here, pushing towards 10,000. When we get to 10,000, we're going to have a 12-hour stream. Really excited about the prospects of that. And every time we cross 100, a multiple of 100 here, we're going to give away another set of stickers. You know what? I need to put on my gunners. Let me get my gunner glasses on here. You like smooth Fritz better? Well, thank you. Now this says after Blazor server side. I don't think this is the server side one. I think this is yeah, this is the WebAssembly one running. I don't have the appropriate index content up here. Which one was it? This should say client side. Wolfhound Jesse.
Wolfhound Jesse just resubscribed for 3 months. Woo.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Wolfhound Jesse. I appreciate the 3 months, and we're going to make another donation to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, gotta put on the gunners here. All right. Right, I wear gunner glasses to protect my eyes, to make it easier for me to focus so I don't get blue light in here, and after a long day of coding, right, get all that fatigue. Right, don't want to have to deal with that. So now, I don't think this is going to refresh because it doesn't rebuild like that. Yeah. But I should be able to click in the list view and I get the exact same interaction, but this is the exact same output. And even with the model binding samples, it behaves the exact same way, even though this is running on WebAssembly. The components are the same. The markup is the same. It's just where it renders is different. Very cool stuff. Thank you for asking me to put that together. I'm really happy with how it behaves, how the components we're working on behave on both of those. Let me set a project command here in the chat room so anybody else who comes in can know what's going on, what we're talking about here in stream. So we are building Blazor components that mimic the ASP.NET web forms controls. There we go. What? There we go. All right, nice. So this works now. Let me commit that to source control. All right. So this is in the feature repeater. That's okay. I'm going to add the after. I'm also going to add the solution file. Sure, we'll commit the nav. And then we'll push it out so that folks can work with it. Added a WebAssembly demo project. So you can see it working with WebAssembly. Okay. And that's available now for you on GitHub. So the next component that I wanted to work on, when we look at the list of standard components that ship, the standard controls that ship with ASP.NET Web Forms, we've got DataList, Data Pager, Details View, Form View, Grid View. Repeater feels like it's the exact same thing. Right? It feels very similar to what we've already got. Busting out the gunners with the matching hat. Well, it is kind of matching with the yellow, yeah, sure. I can C# now, indeed. Haha. Mad World Gales with the 3 bits. Thank you so much. And that's a reference. You know what? Can I take a moment here? Can I take a moment and just say a quick congratulations? Mad World Gales, thank you for reminding me. A friend of the stream, somebody that in the Philadelphia community I look up to. She's a good friend. You can find her on Twitch. She's Ellieface. She's the leader of the PH16 team. She just crossed a major milestone yesterday in followers. She just crossed 4,000 followers on her stream, and that's something that she had set for a goal a long time ago. And when we set goals, follower goals like this, and you, our communities, help us reach these goals, it's a huge thing. It means a lot to us as streamers. And I just want to put a quick shout out there. Yeah, absolutely. Shout, and only mods can do a shout out. Sorry about that, Gales. Thank you so much for the shout out there. Just a quick shout out to her. Congratulations to Ellieface on reaching your 4,000 followers. So happy to be part of those 4,000 followers, to get you there, get you over that milestone. And she's going to run a 24-hour stream coming up in January, is when it looks like, on her channel, playing games, having a good time, hijinks. It's a lot of fun over there. It is a mature audience's channel, but make sure you check her out. Thank you so much for, let's spread some hype for her. And encourage folks to check out what she's got happening over there. They're also doing a giveaway for the Safe Space team, another team that she's a member of, where for entering and following a bunch of folks on that team, you could win a PC, a gaming PC with monitor, a whole bunch of really cool stuff, including the new Halo Master Chief Edition. Check it out over there on her channel. Very cool stuff. Oh yeah, bring the chat into play on that 24-hour stream. That'd be really cool. So, thank you for that reminder, Gales. I really appreciate that. Let's get in and let's take a look at what the repeater control looks like for web forms, and let's build a demo version of what the repeater control is and start mimicking it. Set that up so that we have a unit test that verifies it behaves properly, and then build. I said it.
And then?
Build the component that actually fulfills and generates that same output.
And then?
We'll start on another control. Maybe form view will be the next one we do, or details view. Don't know. But we'll start on the next one. Mad World Gales, I'm doing great. I am feeling really good here today. 6 days to Christmas, and I haven't started Christmas shopping yet. That's totally a thing. I clicked through a bunch of things on Amazon, but nothing's arrived yet. Oh, we'll see what happens there. Because when you order things from Amazon 6 days before Christmas,
60% of the time, it works every time.
Well, it might get here, it might not. I was I was going to get myself the Oculus Quest for Christmas. I was going to give myself that as a Christmas present, and they sold out. It's not available again until February. Our friend, another member of the Live Coders team, oh my gosh, I'm remembering her real name, but I'm not remembering her. Dr. Oh, what's her? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking. She recommended this, and I'm blanking on. I know her real name. I don't want to say her real name. But she's another streamer here on the Live Coders team, and she does a lot of work with VR and VR game programming. And she recommended we try it. Dr. Mikachu. She recommended checking out the Oculus Quest as for somebody who's just getting started with VR and programming. And I really wanted to, thank you for the shout out for Dr. Mikachu. She does live programming on Twitch for VR games. Really, really cool stuff. Brilliant woman. She's actually one of the folks that introduced the HoloLens on stage at Microsoft Build a few years ago. So I was really excited. I wanted to get my hands on the Oculus Quest, and they sold out. There's of course the folks selling it aftermarket on eBay for 3 times as much as it was listed for. It was listed for like $400, and you can only buy it for like $1,200 on eBay. I'm like, I'll wait. TBD Gamer, hello. So, and this is kind of that weird time of the year where it feels like the folks from UPS and the post office are always delivering stuff to your door because of ordering things now online. All right, let's get back to our repeater control here and build it the way a WebForms person would use it. The more you know. Is Microsoft still working on the HoloLens? Yes, they are. Yes, indeed. There's a HoloLens 2 that's available for you now that you can... they target it more towards enterprise folks. I think that might be a little bit of a mistake considering the success the folks at Oculus and Facebook have had with their device this holiday season. I think some folks should reconsider their marketing and production strategy there and try and get that in the hands of some folks. So we're going to work on the repeater control today. So I'm going to create a folder here for the repeater control, and I'm going to add a web form, and we'll call this default, and this will contain just some initial first interactions with the control. And I really don't like how add web form doesn't give you the option here to build that. Let me delete this. I don't like that interaction. That's kind of crummy. Let me try that again. I want to add not an ASP.NET folder, but web form didn't let me choose some of the things that you want to do to build a web form. So let me go up here and let me choose web form with master page. And I want to be able to choose, yes, site master. There we go. Is that the name of the... Okay, good. All right. So remember this? We had content, ASP content as a section here. I want this to mimic and look like the one we did for list view as much as possible. So, oops, didn't mean to Control X. So we'll copy this in, and we'll say repeater control homepage. I don't have other usage samples yet. Here's a sample repeater bound to a collection of widgets. So what does that look like? We're gonna have an ASP reader repeater. Let's call this repeater control. Doesn't really matter what it's called. And I don't know. What do we have in here? What's this thing look like? So we have an item template, a header template, a footer template. So we're going to run into the same things that we did before. Remember with the list view template where we had a layout template. Header and footer aren't necessarily a thing inside this control. Right? Well, maybe they are. Let's try this. This is a list of things, of widgets, right? And maybe there's a footer template, right? And Right, it'd be cool to be able to put like a count or something on here. And, right, this is the footer of the control. Right, maybe it looks something like that, I don't know. And our item template, well, if I tell it what the item type is, right, what I should be able to do here, and this is a feature that was added in I think it was ASP.NET 4 or 4.5, you'll be able now to directly bind to that type. So I can, right, I can have my item template here be like an L, right? And I can say item dot, not items, item, nope, item isn't here. Where was it? I need to be able to specify what that item is. It's not here. Stelzy says, on the point of Christmas presents, imagine the truck with all the Amazon parcels for Christmas having an accident. That happened yesterday in Austria? Oh no! Oh, that's terrible. Oh my gosh, Code Rushed is here. Welcome in. Just like TBD Gamer and where'd she go? The Coding Bandit. Code Rush, that's our friend Mark Miller. He's another member of the Live Coders team. Great to see you, Mark. Hello, hello. I'm not getting the data binding on this, on the repeater control. Thank you for the shout out there, Hugo. So I'm kind of blanking on what the feature is here for the item, for the repeater. Let's go to docs, microsoft.com, and this is the repeater control. Did I say controls? I did. Repeater class, there we go. So the repeater can have a header template, an item template that's doing databinder.eval. I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Hello? Hello? Anybody home? Hey, think would fly. Think.
Do I really need to do that? That makes it so weakly typed. It's late binding. It's not finding that parameter name, that property name until after the fact. Yeah, right? No, he knows about this. What does this not like? Oh, you know what I'm missing? I'm missing run at server. But I'm not getting... Oh, no! There it was. Whew. Okay. So I can do something like that. Yeah, you did get an identifier. And this should give me just a simple collection of the objects when I data bind to it. So let's data bind to it. So let's write, my control is repeater control. Data source equals, yep, models, widgets, and I've got a list already sitting there. And I will data bind so that we get that very simple feature working. And let me put a link in my default page so we can get to that repeater control now. Href equals, and we're going to have you go to... Yes, I want to pick the URL, please. Control samples, repeater, default. Right. I just want to get to the end of that thing, right? There we go. So now I can get to the repeater control here. And at some point I also need to put the default syntax here, right? Some of the samples and what it outputs here. Well, let's see what it outputs for my repeater control. Well, I need to start it, right? So let's start that and see what it looks like. .eval is completely safe. Completely, says Boom Boom. No, .eval is terrible. Oh my goodness. Got a little sour grape G Fuel on board here today, feeling really good. So let's see what this looks like. Let's go. That's not the right project. I didn't want it to start that project. I wanted to start this project. Hey, Frank. Bonjour. Good to see you, my friend. Let's see. What did I do here? How do I have... You know what? That's being pushed in by... That's okay. That was being pushed into that project by NerdBank Git version. Let me wipe that and restart here. Yeah. When you see the word eval, you'll pretend that it says evil, says stealthy. Nice. Nice. Frank's another member of the Live Coders. F. Bruchero's there. Can we get a shout out for Frank? Good to see you. Thanks so much for tuning in. There we go. Now we've got web forms. I should probably redo some of this. But this is a public project out there. If you want to submit pull request, you can do that. It's available for anybody to interact with, submit issues, anything that you feel would help improve this. So the control, if we look at what it rendered here for us, we didn't actually put a UL around things, but it's literally just those LIs, just those list items being output here. Okay. Yeah, make sure you check out CodeRush. Mark's working on some really cool things, and he's always showing off not just a really, really cool Dungeons and Dragons management application that he's been building, and his show for the Dungeons and Dragons show is actually, has that started, Mark? I know he's working on getting it up and running, and they've had at least a couple of test shows. I don't know if they've actually done it yet. But he's also showing off the application CodeRush, an add-on for Visual Studio that'll make you a more productive developer inside Visual Studio 2019, 2017, 2015, 2013, 2012. Sense a pattern here? It works in every version of Visual Studio. If you find the right version that's of CodeRush that supports it, and you can get really cool refactoring and the ability to get some great insight into your code using CodeRush from the fine folks at DevExpress. So the control itself didn't actually wrap it in anything. The header, the footer didn't actually do this. Didn't right? It literally just output exactly what were in those templates. That's not too bad. I think we can do something with that. Can we do something with that? I think we can. Okay. Let's do this. Let's see what we can do to make this work a little bit for us. I should have copied the HTML. Let's see. What can we do? Nah, let's not. Let's move on. Let's go over to there's a test project we wrote that's insert item position. Oh, that's an enum that we built. I feel like we should put enum somewhere else. And we don't need this project, this file. We're not doing that. That's just kind of sticking around. And we don't need everything under... Well, we might need root, but we don't need these things. Let me clean those up while I'm here. We might need styles. Not yet. Not yet. Don't need it yet. All right. So we have a test project here that will run our tests. And is it running with live unit tests? Live unit testing. Start those. So here's my test explorer, and let me go to the live unit testing link. There we go. building now. So there's, I can't tell if it's live or not. But here's the
Oh my.
there's live unit testing right there. So this will run the tests as we're writing here. Oh, Connor Dev. Thank you so much for calling my attention to that. Connor Dev with the redeem. I feel like there is a pub sub API that we can interact with channel points. I feel like I want to set up an alert so that when somebody does do a redemption, it notifies me. We get some sort of an identifier here on the screen when a redemption happens. Connor Dev has requested public read-only live share. Friends, if you're not familiar, live share, Visual Studio Live Share, is a feature that you can use so that if you're in Visual Studio Code, if you're in Visual Studio, you can connect in and watch me write code. Well, not just me, but you can connect in and participate in writing code with, there we go. And let me make sure this is run test after build. Good. You can connect in and participate, watch the code being built, ask questions, and be able to interact with these things. Yeah, I do need to set up something so we get a notification when those channel points are redeemed. So let's do that. Let me set up. Thank you so much, Connor Dev, for the redemption. I appreciate you requesting that. So I'm going to set up Visual Studio Live Share right now so that anybody can connect in, anybody can participate. You can sign in with either your Microsoft account or your GitHub account and participate as part of this. So go ahead and start up Visual Studio Code, start up Visual Studio, and I'm going to give you a link in the chat room so that you can connect in and see my code and participate. I'm going to make sure that it's read-only. It was requested to be read-only. If you want to join the live share, there's the link. There we go. I'm going to mark that as complete. Click that link and you'll pop in here and we'll see your initial show up. Up to 30 people can join and participate and watch and see what's going on here live as we're building and working on these components. So go ahead and connect in. Click that link. Open it up in Visual Studio Code, Visual Studio 2019, and join us. It'll be a lot of fun. Net Cody says, "Whoa, this is so cool." Well, thank you. Maybe it's not quite that whoa. Wow. Maybe it's more of a wow. Or a
Oh my.
yeah. When it's read-write, people can also see your code. Not just see it, but they can change your code when it's read-write mode. That's correct. So I am sharing read-only. You're welcome to jump in here if you'd like. Anybody can jump in. There is no limitation. There is no constraint there. So, where was I? Oh yeah, we're going to write a unit test. So let's write a unit test here for repeater, and we'll call it simple list to start. So I'm going to add a folder, add new folder for our repeater, right? Because we're going to write all of our unit tests first. Our friend and fellow live coder, our Dallas, that's Steve Smith. He would be quite disappointed in me if I didn't write unit tests first. So this is a Razor component. Our unit tests are themselves Razor components, and I'll call this simple list. Okay. Now our simple list test that we wrote for the list view looks like this. I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna cheat and copy the content of that directly in here. So test component base, component under test. Instead, we're going to do a repeater. We don't have a repeater control yet, so that's not lit up yet. So this is really going to fail for us here when it starts running these tests. Let me make this a little bit like that. You'll also be able to see the unit tests as it runs here. It is a whoa quality feature. Hugo, an interesting way that I've seen folks use this, and our friend Eldorian, that's J.R. Cook. He's one of the hosts of, oh my gosh, it's the Hearthstone podcast. on the Blizz Pro. I'm forgetting the name of his podcast. But our friend Eldorian uses this to do quality assurance testing. When QA says, hey, this doesn't work, he'll open up live share with the quality assurance folks. They'll navigate and do the interactions on their machine, and his machine gets all the debug information popping out. So it's a great way to pair program and collaborate there. So this should actually kind of work the way that it's described here. That should do that thing and behave the exact same way as a repeater control, right? When I look at what I had for, where'd it go? Not this one. I bet it's not that one. I bet it's not that one. There we go. I can close this. I'm going to close that. This one too. That one also. If I look at... It's already open. Sure, close it. Now reopen it. Right, run at server item type. And, okay, we're putting the items in here so we can kind of see if it's actually building and going to do that interaction. So I expect to see my tests fail there. And not only does it fail, it doesn't build properly. It doesn't know what a repeater control is. So a repeater component is. So let me close down some of these. And I'm going to go over to my components here, and let's start writing a repeater component. So I'm going to add, and Blazor component isn't in this list. It'd be nice if it was context sensitive and it picked up on that. So I'll create a repeater.razor here. Webface, I'm not going to follow you just yet. So now I have a repeater component. And if I build, it should now be able to build, and we should get some failures happening here that it doesn't actually do anything, right? Hopefully. Let me just click around. Just clicking around? Not a problem. Coding Stocks says, in Blazor, is it a best practice to do code inline or use a code behind file? Let me highlight that, because this is a really good question. I still have some build errors. All right. Run test from the last successful build. No. This is a good question, and this is something that the ASP.NET team was struggling with, right? Because you have this idea of code in line with the file. And the answer is there is no best practice right now. We're not sure what works best for folks. There are folks that are coming in from a React framework point of view, where intertwining their code with their markup is something they're very comfortable with. Great. If that's how you're comfortable, do that. There's also folks that are coming in from a web forms point of view or from an MVC point of view, where there's a very strict, put your code in a code behind, put it in a controller, put it in a Razor page view model, and have all of your business logic over there. I kind of like that, because then when you have business logic, you can test it inside that class file, because that class file is just a class. You can run unit tests against it. So the answer to your question, Coding Stocks, is do what makes sense for you. Set a standard for your organization and go in that direction. It's great that we have that flexibility. So, unit tests. We're built to fail. Yes, we want our unit tests to fail. So here, that should have worked. It should have found that repeater control. Is it because I'm in... Well, why doesn't it... Fixture test, first test. Not quite sure why it's... Let me take a look at the... No, we're okay there. But this... Webforms components dot repeater. Right, but let me look at that error again. This is coming out of here. Okay, so you know what? I'll tell you what, I'm going to fully qualify that and see what that son of a gun thinks this time, now that it's fully. All right, here we go. Found markup element with unexpected name item template. Right. We haven't defined what an item template is yet, so we got to do something about that. And the name item does not exist. So we got to do something about that too. All right, so these are the next pieces that we build, right? I'm going to close this for right now. Inside of the list view, there is a parameter for the item template. We want to support that. So I'm going to copy that. And in this case, because I'm doing a lot of inheritance here, I do want to have a code behind it, a base component class that we're going to derive from. So I'm going to call this simplelist.razor.c. Not simple list. I'm in the wrong place. Oh my goodness. I'm confusing myself here. Down here, I want a class, and this will be repeater.razor.cs. And just like I did here, this inherits from an item type, and it's a base model binding component. This is something that we built that has all of the model binding features of web forms baked into it. So this is a public class of type item type, and it's a base model binding component of type item type. Okay. And now I have a render fragment here. Let's get some autocompletes happening. Good. Let me go back to my simple list and see. This should start to pick up now and behave properly. Right? The successful unit test is a failed counter proof. Well, wait a sec. We're still building. Blazor is in a state where everyone is encouraged to make up their own coding conventions, says Stelzy. Yes, I agree. Item type could not be found. So item type is, let me go back over here. In our list view, we have our item type defined. Oh! Here as the type parameter. Check that out. And we also need to set up the inherits for this. So those are the bits of markup right here. So inherits, this says, hey, this class actually inherits from this thing. Actually, I think it needs to inherit from repeater. Not that. I think that might be a mistake. I think that's supposed to be list view. Like that. Let me try that. Let me run the tests and see what happens here. So we're going to rebuild and see what happens here. Hey, Odin Hassan. Good to see you. Well, we want to be able to tinker with our unit test and make sure that it shows properly, that it doesn't work. Okay. Maybe that inherits should be the other way. That should build. Or not. There we go. Clean some of them up. Partial declarations of repeater must specify different base classes. No, I didn't do that. I didn't. So this should be the same with this inherit over here. And my repeater, this isn't a... Nope, it's not a partial. Shouldn't be a partial. Oh, maybe it should be. Alright. Fine. I'll figure this out. Let's see if we can run the test. Going to be your last month in Microsoft Malaysia. Follow the stream from time to time. Well, all the best to you, Odin Hassan. Where are you moving on to? In Malaysia? My goodness, it's way early in the morning there. And we appreciate and love that you're able to join us as well. There we go. So my other unit tests work. Component test. This one says should be 3 count of items repeated in there, but 0 were output. So my item template is there it's what this is trying to do is it wants to find 3 items output for the 3 items in our simple widget list, right? This is just 3 items that it's outputting. So now we can go back to our repeater and actually write the code to output that, which is going to be really easy, right? Just like we did in list view, there is a visible thing here, but we don't have that yet. And we don't have empty data template yet. So let's do something that starts like this. If items equals no, we don't have empty data template yet, so I'm just going to comment that out for right now, right? So it's not going to do anything. Otherwise, for each item in items, there we go. For each item in items, we're going to output the right item template item, and that should do the thing. We should get our 3 items output here. Let's no. Fine, I gotta put a semi out there. Fine, be that way. Output that. Let's see. Should run my tests. And we'll go back and fill in empty data template, some of these other templates and features of the repeater control. Come on. Come on. You can do it.
You can do it!
Nope. What happened here? Should be 3, but was 0. Oh. We didn't wire up the data source. We don't have data source as a thing that we can do here yet. Or actually, wait a sec. We do. Because it's inside the model data binding template class here. Haha! That is a thing. Okay. So what am I missing? Why isn't it rendering? Go back and take a look-see. So our repeater, if items equals null, if there aren't any, for each item in items, item template. So in this, all of that stuff works. It should have done a for each on the item template. I'm not quite sure. So it's, I'm not sure what it's rendering there. It should have output when we do that properly. So let me set up, let me do the server side one here. Let me set up a control sample for the repeater class so we can see what this looks like. Right? I'll add a razor page, and this will be, yep, just a razor page. Index, I don't want a page model class. No. It's going to use the default. Come on. Come on. I'm not quite sure what it's doing. What are you doing there, Visual Studio?
You can do it!
Get to it. Come on.
Bueller.
Okay, it restored a bunch of packages, it looks like.
Bueller.
I am running a
Bueller.
preview here. This should be adding very quickly here.
Bueller.
Right? That's getting annoying. There we go. All right. Okay, I asked for... Well, it built a razor page. I don't want a razor page. I want a razor component. One of these. Right? And I want to do almost the exact same thing over here. I'm gonna cheat and copy a lot of this. And come back after the fact and because the repeater and the list view are so similar, right? We're gonna make these do almost the exact same thing. I don't have other usage samples yet. Here's a simple repeater repeater bound to a collection of widgets. I don't want the outside bits. I don't want alternating item template yet. Item template's the only one I want. Item separator template, let me get rid of that. Empty data template, let me get rid of that. Why won't you let me comment? Can I comment? No. Now you make me sad. And I'll get rid of the table stuff down here, and I'll change this to repeater. Sure. And let's change this from simple list view. Can I? Oh, it's not gonna let me rename. Gareth! Thanks so much for
Hubble
the...
just resubscribed for 18 months. Is this 2 stream babies now?
2 stream baby. Nice. I see what you did there. Thank you so much, Gareth. I appreciate the resub. We'll make another donation to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. And really appreciate the sub there. How's it going, my friend? Can I get a shout out for Gareth? Gareth's another member of the Live Coders. He's been doing a bunch of interesting things. You moved off of F#. Were you using, was it Rust I saw you using a week or so ago? You're right, I do have the TRTD here. And I got rid of the table. Alright, I'll just put a quick table around this. F#, Bolero, and WebAssembly. Oh, very cool. Yeah, make sure you check out Gareth. Really neat stuff that he's been working on over there. Stuff that I need to pay more attention to in those technologies and getting more comfortable with it. This should work. Thank you for the follow, Omithra. Appreciate that. Wanted to see what Blazor was like in F#, and it's fun. Oh, very cool. Yeah. I haven't tried it yet that way. And also, let me put the link through to the repeater control here. So this is going to be control samples, repeater, and I'll get rid of this. You're not going to let me do that, are you? All right. So now let me see what it's actually outputting. I'll do a control F5 so it starts without debugging, so I can make changes and have it restart. You haven't seen me in a long time. Oh my gosh, Gareth, I'm doing very well. Looking forward to the winter holiday here. Gosh, I spent so much time speaking at conferences in November and the beginning of December here. It really threw me off my game. Okay, so the repeater isn't actually outputting anything yet. That's a problem. That's totally a problem. But I'm back on my regular schedule now. So that should have worked if I remember this properly. Let me see here. List view. Here we are. I don't think. No, I don't have anything here for that. Thank you for the follow, Rude Boy. Welcome, Rude Boy. Good to see you. Let's see here. What are we missing? So list view doesn't have anything that's specific to lighting up and using that item, right? Let me go look at the base over here. Let's see if we can... Right, there's an on-after render here that should get... Wait a sec. No, data source, it should set the items equals the value and say state has changed. That should have worked. You've been waiting for like a month or so to catch my stream so we can follow live. Rude Boy, welcome in. Woo! It's good to see you. MXG asks, if I spam unfollow, will it spam developers? No. Stream elements that triggers that will catch the unfollow within a certain time frame. this is interesting that it's not... Right, it should have triggered and run that. Let me go back. This should have wired up and done the thing. I'm going to run this in debug mode, and let's see what happens here. See if it actually does it. Bummer? Nah. It's okay. There's plenty of other ways that you can trigger sound effects here in stream. Execute the help command, and you can see the list of other sound effects that you can trigger. And you can make my life really difficult.
This is my fight song. Take back my life.
I need to work out how to get sound effects to play at the right volume. You know what, Gareth? That is one of those things that is, it takes a bit of work to try and figure out exactly where that is and how to balance all of that sound at the same place. It takes a bit of work and trial to get through here. I make you feel guilty before you're about to. Yeah, it's distracting me already. All right, so this is the first render through doing a list view. I'm not even on list view. Why is it doing this? But I'll continue. So, simple list view. Okay. Data source. So that's now a widget list, and it should data bind, which doesn't actually do anything. Right, but that... Okay. So when it sets the... Oh, wait a sec. When it sets data source, it should have done a state as change to force those items. So... Okay, there's list view doing that. Okay. So I'll go back. That was list view. Let me go to the repeater. Now okay. The repeater didn't go through. Right, let me go to not test. Am I confusing myself here? The repeater index here. So let me put a break on that one. Refresh this. Okay, so we're hitting that. So simple repeater, which should connect to this. Data source is null. Now the data source is those widgets, and it should be data binding. So now after first render, but it didn't output anything. Where'd it go? There's nothing there. All right. So let me go over here to the markup. If items equals null, and there aren't any in the collection, output the empty. Otherwise, for each item in items, so I should be able to set a breakpoint here. Refresh and see this again. Right? There we go. Items, 3 widgets, and it should run item template for each one of those. Right? So why didn't it pick up item template?
Hey, listen.
What do we got? Virtual sound cards and that stuff. Yeah, there's... Oh my gosh. So if you want to separate... So Gareth, if you want to separate your sound so it comes through different devices, that will work. What I've done is I've actually... I have my Stream Deck on a separate sound device because I do have full sound devices. I have them being output on a separate device than other things. So my microphone is a separate device as well, right? So my Stream Deck's output to my normal headphones. My microphone is an input device, so I have them separated. there's other things that you might come through here that you can tinker with. Uh-oh. Trying to get my attention for Boom Boom. Just a viewer has redeemed and asked me to go back into Thanos mode. And I had there was a comment earlier about not using the ambient sound. So tell you what, I'll stick with this sound in the background. And we'll go to Thanos. The Mad Titan, as it were. Alright. I will set that up. I'm gonna go over here, turn off the ambient effects, and
we'll switch to the Mad Titan. Oh yes. 5 minutes. Here we go, just a viewer. And all your code just disappeared. Because my code's still around. 50% of all the code goes away, so your code went away, mine's still good. Alright. So, item template here isn't doing anything. Why isn't it doing anything? If I look at my repeater here, it's a render fragment of item type, so it should work. It should be outputting these things for us. It should see, this is an object, this is a template we can render. It certainly sees it as a parameter, but why isn't it actually rendering? Sure looks the same, right? Your abs hurt? Hey, Frank. Fussle Kid, hello. Reminds you of this scene from Real Genius of Kent. This is God. Hello. We've got other sound effects for that. We can play with that in a little bit. Hey Mason, good to see you. JH Dev, just a viewer. Welcome. I am C# Thanos. And we have live share open. If you want to join, you want to connect and navigate around the code, there's a link so you can click into our live share. So, why am I not getting, right, so the table, this is what I put here, right? I mean, that was what I expect to have output, but the content didn't render through here for me. That feels weird. Right, this should be a thing. Let me see. Right, if I built all my model binding stuff properly, it should just render through. I don't need the default right now. That's my test, and the test is properly and correctly reporting that it's not outputting appropriately. Let's see here. If I take the inherits off, does it still work? What does that do, right? I don't know. And those of you that are on live share, do you get the unit tests running on your side? Build error. What's the build error? Partial declaration must not specify different base classes. Okay. So I do need that. Tell you what, let's get rid of this if. Let's see if that's the problem. No. Get rid of that. Let's simplify. Let's make this as simple as possible. Does that work? What would happen if I were able to combine talk like a chipmunk with talk like Thanos? Can't do it. It only supports one sound effect at a time. And, yeah. That doesn't work like that. Let me see if this actually handles and outputs appropriately. Come on. Run my test. Run it. Run it, run it, run it, run it.
Put the candle back.
Still didn't work.
Go!
Okay. So why am I not getting the item template running? That's weird. Thinking, how can we do this? How can we inspect this? How can we make this simpler? Let me turn this off. Let's make this as simple as possible.
All done. No more shadows.
All right. Thanks so much for the redemption there, just a viewer.
Oh my.
Happy to have some fun with that. Yes, oh my, we're back. Let's see. Less copy pasting from the list view. Yeah, I kind of agree. Let's see what happens if we start. Right, there's the list view. Right, items isn't a thing over here yet, because if I remove it, it should, and I should be able to copy and paste that. Right? IEnumerable of type item type. That should totally be a thing that I can set here in my repeater, and this should behave the same way. And I want to be able to copy paste because I want to be able to get the exact same features in both of these. So okay, so it's these things shouldn't be working. That shouldn't be a thing. That shouldn't be a thing. Those. Right, let me move them out. Context item is okay, but I want to say items equals simple list. Widget dot simple widget list. That should work. That should totally work because now I've got it just repeating those things on a screen. So let me come back over here. This should refresh. Or not. No. Fine. Let's restart that and see what happens. Right, but do you agree with me, Stelzy? I should be able to copy and paste those things back and forth. It's not giving me the items list. Okay, that's weird. Right? I mean, that should... Something's strange there. You know? Force that one more time. Just do it clean in case there's anything ugly hanging out there that has it somehow confusing. No. Why isn't it outputting the item template? Right? I mean, the repeater is literally just doing a for each on the items collection. And this is a public partial class of repeater of type item type. Everything builds properly. Why isn't it outputting? Like, it doesn't get any more basic than this, right? right? I mean, show me that it's outputting, that it's at least doing the for loop. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. It didn't rebuild and redeploy it because it's in a child project. Okay, now it's working. I didn't have the @ in front of it, so it wasn't actually executing it. Interesting. Okay, so let's start putting our features back into this. And I feel like item template we may want to push up as well. What? I'm not quite sure what that timer was for. Okay. So this is now inheriting over there. This is now inheriting that. So now if I go... This should work. This should totally work. My unit test, right? No, I didn't have a code share end time. Code share is for the rest of the stream when we do that. When we do live share. And... that worked. Look at that. Now we got a unit test that shows that we have a simple list that it'll output. Good. Let me go back to my index over here. I had items like this. Let me turn that back on. That should work. I really should have a unit test exercise data source. This should work now that I've changed the code. Or not. Let me oh, look at that. Snap, it just jumped right into it. Okay. Build render tree. Items is not a thing there. Yeah. Let me rebuild you. Now that I changed the way that it behaves. Right? And restart. Nope. Okay, let's see what we're missing on this one. So it's saying object reference not set. So, oh, it's rendering it before it's a thing. So this is where that if statement was so important from our list view. Let me go back to the list view. I'm going to grab that same... I'm going to close the test there for a second. I don't need that. Grab that same if else here. Drop that back into here. Right? And restart. So now it shouldn't, yeah, empty data template isn't a thing yet. We need to make an empty data template test and actually build that out. The chimes! No, the chimes are fine. Here we go, repeater. There it goes. Now it works. Now it does the thing. Woo! See, I knew I could copy it the way that I wanted to. You know why I knew I could copy it?
It can be done exactly how I want it.
It can be.
The only question is, are you the man to do it?
Yes, I am. Darn Skippy, I'm the man to do it. Can I see some darn Skippies in the chat room? There's a question here. Boom Boom asks, this is a question I've seen folks ask, and I have an answer for this one. Is any faster than .count equals 0? It is, actually. Items is an IEnumerable. If you were to say items.count, it's actually going to count all of the things. Any is just going to say, look at the collection. As soon as it finds a first item, it stops and outputs and says false. Or it outputs and says true to any. So there isn't even a comparison being done there. Nothing's being allocated. It just looks at the collection. Look at the darn skippies. Thank you so much for that. So for enumerables, it's faster. It's different than for arrays. Yes. If it was an array that I was passing in, yes. The array, the dot count, is absolutely a property on it. It is. But this is an IEnumerable. So, right, I don't... The dot count here isn't... Right, it doesn't know that that's an array that you can iterate over. And you don't have length for the IEnumerable. That's telling me that you can do a count on it. Length isn't here, and I think you're right. It is length on an array. It's definitely the JavaScript thing. Okay, so I need to do empty data template here. So let's create a test for the empty data template. So I'm going to add another item, Razor component. We'll call this empty. And I'm going to copy this. So first test. This name doesn't pop out anywhere. It'd be nice if it did. Items, I'm going to pass for the items a new widget. So I have just an empty array. Okay. There's my item template. And right, what does the web forms format for that look like? Header template, item template, footer template. There is no empty template for this. So actually, if it's empty, that should be 0. But that also means, looking back here, we can turn this around to say if items does not equal null and there are values, that's the only time that we should output. Because there is no empty item list. So now, let's see if we can build that and run. Take a look over here at the chat room. Mr. Maru has a question. What's the @ symbol in front about? You understand the @ to mean ignore escape characters in a string. Yes. So this is using Razor templating, and you end up with, when you write some HTML, like over here. So you've written some HTML and you're intertwining it. You're dispersing throughout it some C#. The @ symbol changes context and says, oh, now we're in C# mode. So I've got a table cell that I'm defining here. I want this item from C# and its ID property output as text here. So that way I can switch back and forth between C# and my HTML very easily. And you see we comment things with the @ notation here. I can also write some C# as a block of code by starting the block with @code curly brace, and then I write my code down in here that I want it to execute. You're welcome, Mr. Morrow. Thanks for asking the question. I appreciate it. Can we shorten that items.any? Let me go back over there. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Can we do that? So if it is null, if the items collection is null, if it is not null, give me an any. If it is null, we're gonna go to false. Cool, okay. That's neat. That's some C# markup there that works very nicely. Let's make sure it still runs our tests properly down here. But I think we still need to work on header, alternating, and footer templates. We need those features, which I think are kind of trivial to put in here, right? Yeah, look at that. So let's go back up here to... So there's what our repeater looks like. So we had a header template and a footer template. Let's add those features. And they aren't really passing anything into them. They're just a template. So I can just say render fragment. Notice I don't pass in a data type, right? A generic there, because I don't have an object that we're passing a collection into that we can iterate over. And we'll call this header template. I'll create another one here for, was it footer template? Was that the name of the other one? Header template, footer template, right. So, and we can finish off that part. Right, and we should write a test for these. We should write a test. Sure, let's call this header and footer. All right, so we have no collection. We have the item template. We'll have a header template, and let's put in here, right, this is my header, and I'll create a footer template. This is my footer. So now, there should be one of those. You know what? Heck, what am I doing? Right? I can make this, there isn't a head, is there? Sure, I'll make it a header element, because I know there's a footer element. So that makes it even clearer what these things are, right? There should be a header, there should be a footer. And where's my repeater? Oh, I need to make them parameters. And a parameter means that you can pass that in as an argument. So I need to, right, let's run this and make sure, since I'm not outputting, that our test fails and says, oh, there's no header and footer. For alternating, is it just stylistic differences like striping? That's one of the features that you can use it for, yes. Other folks might use it for different things. Maybe they want to have different columns they want to put things into. I don't know. There we go. So header and footer failed. Why did it fail? Couldn't find the header. Great. So now I can just put header template. Let's actually put a little bit of space in there. And if I run that, that test should pass and we'll move on. Right. And we'll do alternating type template next, which should be very similar. Should be very much the same thing that we did with the item template, right? Ba-bang, there we go. All right. So alternating item template, when we look at how list view did this, that's pretty easy, right? So let's add alternating item template here. And we should add an alternating template. How do we do this different? Okay, so I'll go back and grab simple list. Alternating item template. Make sure that this works properly. So we have item template, alternating item template, and we'll have B at item.name. So span should be 2. So B should be 1. Because there's 3 items. It should find slightly different count in there. So now that should appropriately fail because we don't have it being output there. Property should be faster. Should be. To the question Boom Boom has there about when you're dealing with a collection, you're unclear as to which collections do what and how to optimize their use. So a couple different collection types that you have, generic collection types that you have in .NET are things like arrays, lists, hash sets. There's others I'm blanking on right now. But lists you can add to, arrays you cannot. Hash sets have, dictionaries are out there also, right? So there's different features. Dictionaries, right? You have a key and a value in a dictionary. You cannot have multiple items with the same key. A hash set is a collection where there's a hash stored for whatever each element is that's in it, and you can't have the same element in it twice. It has the same hash. So you can insert the same object multiple times, but there's only ever going to be one instance of it in there. My alternating item template properly failed there, so let's go back over to my repeater razor. I can close some of these other tests here. Let's add this in. So for each, right, we're going to do that same thing we did in the list view. Don't see it here. It's right there. Concurrent bag. There's the concurrent instances of them. Yes, there's the immutable instances of the lists. If the key is mutable, no, it doesn't matter if the key is mutable. It's not mutable inside of, right? You can't change the key once it's been added to the collection. You can remove it from the collection and re-add it. Here we go. So I'm just going to use this syntax. You know what? I should have that also. And we're going to need the row counter. Yeah. Let me copy that row counter over. And I'll use this syntax. So it's not just a straight for each there. So that should work with all of our things now. Or not. Rats. Oh, I deleted the for each itself. There we go. Yeah, there's also bag objects as well. There were build errors. No. Item separator template. There is an item separator template feature, isn't there? Double check. Nope, there isn't. Is it just a separator template? Yes. Okay. I'm just going to add that real quick. That's an easy feature. And it looks just like these other templates. So and instead of item separator template, it's just separator template. I think that works. That should work. Here we go. And come on, I'm feeling good. Look at that. All good. 7 pass tests. Nice. I should put an entry for the separator template, shouldn't I? Is there a separator template at the end after the last one? I don't know. Let's see what that looks like. Right? So if I add a separator template, and let's just make it an HR, a horizontal rule. Hey. Right? What does that look like? Do I get 3 horizontal rules being output? Or is it 2 because it doesn't include the last one? Let's find out. Or maybe
There can be only one.
there can be only one item separator template. Let's take a look. Repeater. It outputted 3. So it does put one after each of these. Right? LI, HR, HR, HR. So it does output 3, 1 for each item. So let's create a final test for that. Right? So I can add that as part of this, can't I? Let's do that. Right, I can do that, and I can say the same thing here, right? No, not H2, HR. And run those tests. So, and I think we're done our repeater at this point. Like, I think we've implemented all of the templates. Because we put model binding into a base class, all of the model binding feature for select method and those types of things should just work. Should. We're probably going to want to test it, but... So there's my repeater. Yeah, select method is there. Should just work. I can do alternating item template. It's a separator template. Right? And there is no empty template. It just doesn't output something. For the separator template, let's do td call span equals 4. We'll just do an HR in there. It's ugly, but it shows off that it works. Cool. I think that's all we need for the repeater. Just to, right, get that initial, hey, it repeats items on the screen thing, right? Is there another template there we need to look at? No, those are all the templates. So I think our repeater template works. It works good enough for what we're trying to accomplish. So I'm going to commit this. What files do we have here? So we've got all of our tests and things here. Let's add those. Finished first draft of the repeater control component. There it goes. Now, this feature is done for right now, for what we're trying to do to get it to select and just present these things on screen. We don't have paging built into it yet. We don't have some other more advanced features, but this simple just read and present content works, right? So I'm going to push this up and pull request it into the master branch, which should cut a new version of our project and deliver it all the way out to NuGet. So here's the project. I'm going to need to update README so that we have some documentation for the repeater control. Let me do that offline. I don't think you want to watch me write documentation for repeater control, because list view is here. There it is. And I should put some highlighting or something in here to show what is supported and what isn't supported. And this would be a good item for us to list here. Add docs for repeater component. Sure, this is documentation. Somebody can take a look at this if they want. Improve docs for the list view. Show which features are currently supported. Describe the techniques to migrate an existing list view. I think is a good thing to list there. This is documentation, it's an enhancement, and folks are happy to jump in and help out with that if you'd like. Somewhat skeptical of smartness might mean that you have code that you think works, but when I switch to put in an innocent where function, suddenly count is yes. No, don't overthink your code. And it's easy to make that mistake. So this should have kicked off a build for the feature repeater branch here. And there we go. I should be able to click through and see details of this. Hang on, let me go back one. I wish that would default to opening in a new browser. But there it is building. This is version 0.20 preview, and it includes the first draft of the repeater component. And it built. It worked. It passed my tests, 100% passed. I can even look at the tests and see. It'd be nice if it showed me the various tests here. One aborted. Really? There we go. There's all the tests. Oh, only show me the ones that are failed and aborted. Okay. Yeah, no tests were failed or aborted. Cool. That's pretty good. So let's push out a NuGet package that has this new feature available for folks to use. So I'll set up a pull request into the master branch. And I'll added the read-only, the initial repeater component. Repeater only supports read-only interactions and all templates. So we'll create that as a pull request. Thank you for the follow, Paul Amore. Welcome. It already passed. It already compiled properly, so it knows that that's good. No conflicts with the base branch, so I can squash and merge this. And no, I want to include the WebAssembly demo project in the list of what happened there. So we get rid of all the other stuff. So it merges it and is deleting the feature repeater branch. Don't need that anymore because I'm done the initial cut of this. So if I go back over here to my code, we should see the master branch. It's not building yet. Where is it? There it is. So this is going to finish building, and it should deploy all the way out to NuGet. I want to make sure that we see that happen. And we'll talk about our next component and start setting up for that feature next. Right? So it's going to do its package restore there. I'm going to check out master and pull so I get all the branches coming in. So it deleted all my other branches that I don't need. And now if I look at get branch, feature repeater is still here. I thought it deleted it. Why didn't it delete it? There we go. Still restoring. There it goes. The build should be very quickly through here. Yep. Look at that. 5 seconds to build. Boom. Done. Running those tests. Well, the test one actually builds the test project as well. So this may take a quick second here. 14 seconds, all passed. Packed. Publish the artifact. Is it doing the release? No. Oh, wait. It's still running. It's queued. There it goes. So it should just push it up, and we should see that this gets to NuGet.org. Running NuGet push. I want to be able to click through to NuGet.org and show it. Done. Succeeded. It's still called Release 5. Whatever. So it did publish 020 preview. That's weird. Did it drop the name? Fritz.Blazor should find. There it is. 27 downloads. Hey, folks are checking it out. Look at that. It said it pushed it. Is it not showing up in my list yet? This one. Yep, there it is. Was just pushed, and it was just called preview. It didn't include the full hash. It's interesting that it didn't include that. Rambling Geek, hello. I still owe you. Drop me a line on Discord, Rambling Geek. Turns out I don't have your shipping address. I went to ship and I didn't have it with me. Send that along in Discord, and I will make sure. I owe you a backpack, and I've got a couple other things I'm going to sneak in there for you. Get them sent over. So it's not going to make it in time for Christmas, but hopefully you'll have in time for the new year. Let me see what else is going on here. What's this? Oh my gosh. It's always cool when somebody that you work with and you have tremendous respect for responds to a tweet, because I never expect this. I wrote a tweet earlier because I am not a fan of YAML. I wrote, I've got this sneaking suspicion that as much as I hate YAML, I'm going to be forced to use this to script all kinds of DevOps things, whether it's Azure DevOps, GitHub Actions, Kubernetes configurations. It's a markup language, and we're using it as a scripting language. And this is exactly the problem that we had with Grunt back in the day. And I boldly put this out there, and my friend John Papa, tremendous respect for John. John's written a ton of books, all kinds of video courses. Really great speaker. You've seen me interview him on the Dev Intersection channel. I love just the very brief, no, we didn't. Yeah, I don't like using, and we're seeing this with folks. We're using JSON to write markup. When you use markup as a scripting language, the only way you get validation that your markup is appropriate is to run it through the scripting engine. You don't even get verification that you wrote the appropriate markup until you run it. So it's, especially with YAML, where whitespace is very dependent. Yes, musical bookworm, I agree. There's too many opportunities for something to go wrong. If you put a tab character into YAML, it's wrong. That's a problem for me to not be able to get that kind of feedback until I actually run it through the scripting engine. Pardon me. I'm okay with that initial version being pushed out like this, but I'd like to put a counter on the end of that when I build the NuGet package. Right, that NuGet package version number isn't quite right for me. Grunt was terrible, Gulp was better, and now we've got Webpack, and Webpack is just as bad. Webpack is another JSON formatted script that you run through, and it's painful. Whitespace dependent is Python whitespace dependent? F# is whitespace dependent also. Folks like it. I'm not going to debate them on it, but they like it. I think we have something we need to fix here so that the NuGet package, right? The package that is delivered by. What do you mean, build not found? It's right there. That worries me because that's the one that I just built. It's. Find it. Where? Seriously? Okay. And there's nothing there. Is there something there? What's inside of the drop folder? Drop. There. Now, why didn't that open? Whatever. That's the full name. Why didn't it carry the full name over to... Oh, wait a sec. Nerdbank Git versioning drops off the hash when you build in the master branch. This is a problem that I can't get back into that build. I'm not quite sure why that failed. Oh, because I'd already merged it, that's why. That's fine. I get that. I broke into Azure DevOps again.
What'd you do?
I built. Okay, so Nerdbank Git versioning dropped off the hash when I built on the master branch. So the next version that I'm building then is going to be Dash Preview 2. Okay. I think I'm okay with that. Right? So let's go back. Let's look at... Where is my GitHub? Here. Let's update the README real quick. Even though we don't have a doc for repeater. And should samples before web forms be up top? Like that? Yeah, I guess. Maybe I should put all my samples in the same folder, right? Put these 3 all in that samples folder. Yeah, I think that's going to be the better way to go. Let me get rid of these. And I am reminded, I do have some readings. I know folks like to hear me read some things. I am going to be doing, for the holiday, I will do some readings here on channel. I will read again 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. 'Twas the Night Before Die Hard. I'm going to do more readings of The Invisible Man, and I am going to read, by popular request, the Elgato Stream Deck Manual. Somebody get Corsair and the Elgato folks at Corsair on the phone, because we're going to read the Elgato Stream Deck Manual, and it's going to be amazing.
Gather round, children, as we learn the story of the Stream Deck. Yes, yeah.
Oh my.
It'll totally be a thing. Okay. So, yeah, let me move the things that are samples here. Let me move those into the samples folder so that for the purposes of folks being able to follow along, that they're actually over there in the samples folder, which should have just angered Visual Studio here. Yeah. Oops. So let me remove these and re-add these. Remove. Yeah, I guess that's okay. Okay. Or do I put shared sample objects into the samples folder? Let's put that in the samples folder also. I think that makes sense to do. Control X. And here. Right, so that when you're looking at the GitHub repository, when you look at source, all that you see in the source folder is components and test packages. Okay, that's fine. That's not included here, so I'm okay with that. Let me re-add them back into the solution now. Add existing project. No. Add this one. After Blazor server side, this one. That one. All right. That feels like a little bit better organization. So let's create a new fix folder organization. Right. So I've moved those around just a little bit. I think that's all I need to do. Let's add in all the things so that it knows where they are. And it's really going to move sample projects into samples folder. There we go. Let me also... Where is it? The docs folder. Let me kick out a new instance here for the repeater. Let me see here. Welcome for the welcome. Thank you for the follow. Is that Forged Digital? Welcome in. It's nice to meet you. I look forward to seeing you in the chat room.
Do it!
And yeah, do it. Check in with us there. We have cookies. Nah, not really. The repeater component is meant to emulate the ASP repeater control in markup and is defined in the repeater class. Let me copy that URL because I have a feeling if I don't have... Oh, no, I do have it open. Fantastic. I don't need to copy it. And the declarative syntax for it... Come on, show me what it looks like. Not an example. Not data binding. There it is. Looks like that. So this is right out of... There we go. Alternating item footer, header, item separator. So I can add that. I should also modify the README to include a link to that. Repeater MD. And I had opened that as an issue. I realized I took the issue myself. Is this web forms rebuilt on Blazor? It's web forms controls being built so they work for Blazor, so you can migrate your markup easily. This is number 5, so I'm going to git add, git commit, added initial repeater component docs to fix number 5. There we go. And I'll push that up. Yeah. Now, that's going to build. I'm going to create a pull request to merge that into master, which will build again. I shouldn't. It'll build, but it won't push. I do want to push. Close this. I think it's okay. Treating web forms as an interface. Yes, that's a great way to describe it, Boom Boom. That's a great way to describe it. Let me... How do I want to do this? Oh, and I'm... There it is. Let me make this... I don't want to make this preview too. I'm okay with it failing the push to GitHub. Right? Create that. Yeah, that's fine. Create the pull request. Has no conflicts. Good. And it didn't do any builds either. That's great. Because it's not any modification in the source folder. So actually, we're okay here. Yep. Merge that up. I should have merged in a 2 in there. Johnny Sparkles! Missed so many streams since they blacklisted Twitch on your work network. Oh no! Oh, that's a shame. Why came this then so late? A lot of developers forgot about web forms. You're right. Is that Ilyas? Ilyas good? Welcome. You're right. A lot of developers ignore and forget about this, but there's a lot of folks in the enterprise that really, really prefer using web forms. And this should have deleted the branch. Yep. I should have. I forgot to put. I should have made this preview 2, but it's now. So if I check out master and git pull, I get all the updates, and it should have deleted that other branch. Deleted. And it didn't delete the branch. It's not fully merged. Too bad it is. Okay. So let's start work on our next one. And this next component, did it close the issue? It did. Good. Let's work on DataList next. Okay. So this will be preview 2. I feel like I should add like a folder for the docs here. There are lots of legacy web form stuff out there. You're right, musical bookworm. Lots of intranet internal applications, yes. And hopefully, if we migrate and we build these components in a way that they're easy for folks to use, hopefully, folks will be able to migrate their markup quickly and easily to use Blazor and take advantage of a fully supported user interface framework going forward. I think that's kind of exciting to be able to have that on-ramp to something that's new and works in WebAssembly, works in all the different cool places that you find Blazor. Looking here, just making sure making sure I don't have any. I thought I didn't have any meetings coming up today. The only thing I have is tonight I'm at Philly.net tonight speaking. I'm giving the same talk that I gave in Arizona 2 weeks ago now. So great opportunity for those folks to ask questions and go through and see some of the new things that are happening in ASP.NET Core. All right. So I've updated my version number. I'm going to start adding the DataList component here, and I should add those docs to start if I really want to be doing this properly, right? So let's copy paste that. I'll rename this to DataList. Reopen with Visual Studio Code. Yep, DataList, the DataList component, the ASP DataList control and markup, and I believe we'll see it over here under. Come on, show me DataList. Yes, there it is. So we have that and the declarative syntax examples, templates. Oh, there's a lot of good templates here. Look at this. Edit item, footer, header, item selected. So we're going to have some data editing that we need to do in this one. There was no data editing for... oh, look. Back color, border color. Oh. We're going to be applying some CSS styles to this one, friends. So let's paste in what that one looks like. There it is. So now we've got some documentation for DataList. We should link out to it also. Right, that's from the README. So DataList, right? And so we'll go docs, DataList, MD. So now we have a link to those to the documentation that we wrote. Johnny Sparkles says, "Are those them glasses that are meant to reduce strain on the eyes from the screens?" Yes, they are. These are Gunner glasses. Gunner is lightly sponsoring the stream. You can find a coupon code just below me here. If you use coupon code C# when you check out, you'll get, I believe it's 10% off your entire order at gunners.com. How well do they work? I really enjoy them. I've been using Gunner optics for a few years and really enjoy using them. It makes it a lot easier when you're looking at the screen for hours and hours on end. And since I've got so many lights on me, it really helps with my eyes here and eye strain. Eternal DevCoder has a question here. This is a good one. This is a good one. If it wasn't a good one, I wouldn't put it on the screen. Eternal DevCoder asks, getting ready to build a website for a startup that will include an administration area. Should I use ASP.NET Core or full framework MVC? Use ASP.NET Core. ASP.NET Core has been out now for 5 years. Can you believe it? 5 years? It was available in 2014 is when it started. We've got several long-term support versions of it that are available. It'll run on Windows, Mac, and Linux. So if you want to deploy in a container in a cluster scenario, and it doesn't matter whose cloud you go to, and you want to run on a thin, small Linux server, you can do that. It runs great behind Apache or Nginx. Check it out. So I would definitely say use Core. Gareth is spot on here. Let me highlight that. You should only use Core unless you have to use full framework. If you have to use .NET Framework 4.7, 4.8, because it's being deployed to Windows and that's the standard that folks are imposing and saying to use, okay. But if you're in a startup mode and you're building a brand new application and you want it to be in the lightest, fastest framework that's commercially available, ASP.NET Core is where it is. Get there. You're gonna really like it, and it'll be tremendous for you. ASP.NET Core, it's where you should be developing now.
This is my fight song. Take back my
Yep. Do it. The best version of MVC works on .NET Core. So, best of luck to you, Eternal DevCoder. Sounds like you've got a really cool project ahead of you. Building a new application is always fun. Building for a startup, oh man, that is so cool to do. Let me add in the little pieces of documentation that we added here and commit those. Added initial docs for the DataList component. Yep. Oh, I need that. Oh! I've got such a long password. I really need to get my hands on that Yuba key. So I'm not constantly keying that in. You have complete autonomy on your stack. Ooh, Eternal DevCoder. Have some fun with that. Oh, my friend, you've got some fun ahead of you. I am quite envious. I didn't create a model binding sample here for the repeater. I'm okay with that. So let's add another new folder here for the data list. And I'm going to add a new item. I don't think I'm gonna get too far into this. I know we're already about 2.5 hours into the stream here today. This will be default. Yep, site master. There we go. And there's my content. And we didn't finish the repeater output, what it should look like. I'm okay with that, I guess. Sure, let's add something that looks like this. Wow, that's a lot of code. And we'll do this in our data list content. There we go. So this is the DataList control homepage. I don't have other samples for this yet. Simple DataList bound to a collection of widgets. All right, so let's see what this looks like. So we have a data list, and we'll call this not simple list view. Can I F2 that? Nope. Simple data list, which also means that behind the scenes here, simple data list dot data source equals where'd it go? I know you're here. Shared sample objects. I have a feeling my references broke. Did my references break? I think they did. I think they did. Yep. Add that back in. Which means I'm willing to bet, yeah, these dependencies broke too. That one. That one's right. That one's not. That should totally rebuild properly. That's an upset doggy again. Okay, the tests are upset. This one, I should be able to fix this quickly. That should work. Let's see, if we rebuild the entire solution, it should work. Unable to find from after Blazor client side. Really? Really? Blazor web form components. There it is. I needed an extra one there. Let's rebuild the solution, see if we can get it to work now. Semicolon expected. Yeah, because yeah. Shared sample objects could not be found inside of Blazor Web Components test. Ah, because I moved that. Yes, yes, yes. So let me go down to the test project. So this is going to go down into samples. And that should work now. What do you mean you can't find it? Is it another one up? Do I have that backwards? No. Well, wait a sec. Hang on. That's not right. No, that's the right one to reference. It's telling me... Come on, Jeff. Where'd it go? References. Manage references. This one. That built properly. That built properly. Test should execute now. What do you mean unexpected? No. It totally worked. The following test container was not found. Clean everything. Redo it. I have a feeling like I need to close and recycle here. It feels like it's I've thrown it into a bad state here because I was tinkering, changing things around. Simple data list data bind, and that should do the data list thing over there. I don't know what the code's going to look like, so I'm not going to write that out just yet. I'm in the list view. I want to be over here in data list. This is data list. Data list doesn't have a layout template. Okay. Oh, you know what? I didn't do enabled for the repeat list. I didn't do the enabled feature. Enabled and visible properties don't work on repeater. Because I didn't put those on there. That's a problem. So we've got a bunch of different. We don't have a layout template, but we have a header template and a footer template. We can do something with that. Let me think. What do we do here? What do we want to do? So let's do this. If we want this to be a table using a data list, right? We don't have a layout template. We have a header template. And there's also header style. Where does header style come in? So this becomes a header template, right? Alternating item template, those are things. The rest of these just kind of work. So let's see what this looks like. And did I create a link through? Nope, not yet. We're going to create that link into DataList right there. All right. And let's kick this up. Let's see what happens here. What this looks like as a data list, because my header template, actually I have a, well, tbody needs to go away. That's not a thing, and neither is the table, right? I have a footer template that is a, right, hang on. Yeah, I don't have a footer per se here. So let me just leave it like that. Which means that down here at the end, so now if I bring this over, look at how small that is. Data list, let's see what that looks like. Kaboom! Item separator template isn't a thing. Now I'm getting the green underscores. So those aren't things, that's not a thing. Let's get rid of this one. Okay. Okay, that's a thing. Let's see what the source code looks like. So tbody,thead, there's that. Table. Well, look at this. Hang on. That's not mine. it created a table anyway around this. Let's go back and change our markup and see what happens. So maybe it's automatically generating a table for us for the data list, right? So if I get rid of the table markup around it, refresh, and let's click into the item. So we end up with, we still have a T body here. It's not clear where this is coming from. Right, but we have the T head and we have another T body here. Thank you for the follow. Glow Too Deep. Welcome. The crux of web forms, table spam. Ed Charbonneau is here. Hey, Ed. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Web forms was pre-HTML5. You're not wrong. It doesn't mean that we don't want to support those features that folks are using and move them forward, get them migrated over here, and eventually we'll swap this out so that they have different markup that they're using instead. Right? Think about that. So right, where is this T body coming from? And we end up with this TR and another TR that is empty after it. So what's the data list doing here? Right? What should our header template look like? Let's go look at the samples for the data list class of how it's being used here. Header template is just the word list of items. Item template, description, price. It's a very basic format. Oh, Gareth. Embrace web forms, extend web forms, and then extinguish? No. Embrace web forms. Give a branch to the next and fully supported user interface framework. So, okay, so if we put in the header template here, instead of all that stuff, if we put my widget list. No, I don't want a bookmark. No, remove that. Okay, so it puts it at the top. What's that look like? It puts it in a table cell. Okay. So then if my alternating item templates, it feels like the data list is intended to show just one element. Right? Even though it's got columns here. Repeat layout. Okay, so let's say item template. Right, let's get rid of alternating item template to start. Let's say item template is just... How do we put these in different cells then? Is there... No, I don't have something... Right? What is in repeat layout? Flow ordered list, table unordered list. Oh. Okay. So let's put just item name in here, right? Get rid of these other things. Right? And what do I get? First widget, second widget, third widget. And these are inside one row cells. Repeat columns 3. Repeat columns 3. What happens if I do that? Right, if I do that, refresh now. Okay, so now I've got 3 columns going across instead of down. What happens if I start putting in some of these other things? Price, toString. What does that look like? Right, didn't I save this over here? Refresh. No. Did I just close it by accident? I did. I closed it by accident. Are you kidding me? Fun fact, Telerik did a rendering swap years ago. Yes, they did. Oh, yes, they did. I was there when it happened. Yep. There we go. DataList. Okay. Now, wait a sec. Now let's see what this thing is. Okay, so it's not creating rows per se, right? It's just repeated the same thing 3 times across. Now what happens if we change this to something else? I don't want to do flow. Let's do ordered list. DataList does not support the ordered list layout. Okay, then why is it in my list here of things that I can do? Does it only support the table layout? No. So it just output a bunch of spans. So there's the header, a break, and then spans. So it only supports those 2 types. How you feeling, chat room? Let's start with this as a table. And repeat columns 2. Let's start like that. And I think we can do something with this. Probably quickly. Now, you know what? Let me go to 3. Just so it's 1 column going across. And I will... Right, it's 1 row going across, and we can test that. So let's start building our unit test for this. Right. No, I don't want to save that. There it is going across. So let's write some tests for this. And we'll push out it after we get our initial test built here. This is DataList. Wait a sec. What? Well, let me create it because I'm in debug. I have the debugger attached. Here, this DataList. There's my tests waiting for us. So let's add a simple list, another item for that simple list component. That's just an initial list of these things, and I will once again cheat. Widget simple list. This is not going to be a list view. This is going to be a data list, which it doesn't know what any of this stuff is yet because things. Right? We haven't built any of this yet. So let's start like that, and let's give it an initial. Yeah, and let's give it an initial component to build against. So I'm going to come down here, And we are going to create a Razor component. DataList. There it is. Okay. That's our list view. I'm not going to look at that anymore. So this shouldn't actually do anything yet. Yep, there we go. Now it's telling me, all right, we need to add these other features. Fantastic. So let's add the datalist.razor.cs. And by naming it like that, we get good nesting inside of Visual Studio. You can see over there in the Solution Explorer. But it also gives us a way, when we look at the folder structure, to be able to tell that these two are related. $16.9K, 10.5K. What are you looking at there? Are folks sharing the number of channel points that they have right now? Are you getting ready to gang up on me? Is that what's going to happen? Seeing web forms brings back memories of being productive and spamming find control. Oh no. Public partial class data list of some item type, and this is going to be the base model binding component of item type. And that means I also need to put, copy. There we go. And put those up here. Why do I get the feeling that our friend Coding Bandit Carrie is getting ready to drop a big whammy on me and make my coding life difficult here? Bald bearded builder, hello. I didn't say hello, I'm sorry. Good to see you, my friend. So this should build now. We should get some failing tests here. I thought there were 7 tests. How do we get down to... Did I delete something? Data list, list view. The repeater is there. These should run. We should see it fail on some things here. Item template doesn't exist. So we need an item template. Let's add our item template. This is a parameter. Yep. Public, right? Render fragment of type item template. That should totally be a thing now, and this should build. How did I drop a test? There should be 8 of these popping up. Never cared for web forms? That's okay. A lot of folks were really productive with this. Did it build properly? 5 succeeded. Fantastic. Okay. List view repeater. Why doesn't it see this one yet? So, we've got to start. We want to find 3 TDs through here. Oh, there it is. It's still finding these things. All right. Chillaxter, hello. And we did turn on channel points. You can redeem and modify some of the emotes if you'd like. There are some holiday-themed modifications in there that you can tinker with and have fun with, if that's something that you're interested in. This should... What's in the test output pane? It's like it's still... Let me close and reopen this. It feels like I threw this into a bad state here. Is that... wow. Is that Murat? Let me know. Welcome. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. And I look forward to seeing you in the chat room. You got the hype one just now. Oh, congratulations. Let me close and reopen the solution here. See if that triggers a reload and starts behaving better for us. These aren't opening for me. There we go. A Turkish name. Wow. Oh my gosh. Well, welcome on in, Murat. It's so good to have you. How are you doing here in this December 19th? What? Yeah, okay, we're good. We're good. Just keeping an eye on things, making sure nothing sneaks up on me here. So this is going to build. We should see the tests run. And there we go. Why is it still saying 6 tests? There's a lot more than that in there. Right, it didn't execute this test. Or that test. And it should find our data list as well. There we go. Now it found 8. And it hasn't run this test yet. It's still working. Go. Go. Come on. And I'd like to see some tests, please. I want to see this thing fail. That says, oh, it didn't output the thing. Right? Run those. But kind of weird that it's not running all of the tests, you know? There we go. So the data list test comes back and says 1 failed. And it didn't find the TDs. Right, because we're not outputting data yet. Let's start outputting data so that it looks like the same thing that we had in web forms. So in web forms, let me go back. Oh, rats, I don't have it open. Let me debug start this. Debug, start new instance. And we'll take a look at what this looked like. What this HTML looked like, because it had... Was it? Not that one. This one. Right, enabled repeat layout table. Even when it didn't have repeat layout table, it's still rendered as a table, right? So let's take a peek over here and see if we can get this to render the same way. So we had a table with a whole bunch of parameters put on here. We're going to need to work on that. We're going to have some CSS we're going to need to manage as part of this one. But for the item... okay, so it starts with a T body that has the header on it. We don't have a header in this one yet, but it has a table cell for each one of our items. Right? So let's emulate that. Can I just do a Control U and see this? Yes, there we go. Good. Good, 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 good. All right, so I'm going to copy that. Let's put this into Notepad. Close this. Stop that. This is what we're going to emulate. Ah, come on, Notepad. You were supposed to drag at the same time there. All right, so our data list razor, our item template, right? So if there are items, right, we need to make sure we do that. If items, right? How did we do that in the repeater? Let's use that same syntax. That was a really cool suggestion that we got earlier. I want to make sure I do that. Yeah. Right? If items is not null and there are any, for each item in the items collection, now we're not just going to output it directly. We're going to output tr, td, and then, yeah, I said it, the item template for the item. And that's going to change depending on how many columns we specify also, right? We need to... Oh, wait a sec. Hang on. We don't have repeat columns in our sample. We're gonna have to calculate that. It ran only the tests which were discovered when the test run started. You think you had similar issues with Netcore 2.1 projects? Okay. Cool. All right. I'm gonna have to put a table up here and a table down here, and it's not quite the same, but it should do the same thing. We're going to run into this issue with the columns and getting it to repeat properly. This is going to be a little wacky here. So let me try running that component test again here and see if we get this running properly. And then we can talk about columns. And we'll put that out there. 1 second here. Christmas gift coordination here. So that's saying it's working properly. All right, now let's do the header template then, and we'll get into the columns and table flow here in just a second, because it's going to be two different things, and we're going to end up behaving a little bit differently, I think, on both of these. So, yeah, let me just add a header template here, right? I can do that, can't I? Right, isn't that how we did it over here? Header template, my widget list. And now it's not going to be 3, it should be 4. And I'm going to want to say cut find. Cut is the component under test. Cut. See how that works? This is going to be TD, the selector. And I want to find the first one, right? So I guess that finds the first one. Depth first. Okay. So I guess it'll, right? Because this returns an element. Okay. And I want to test that the text content. Yeah, text content. And that's going to give me a string. Should be. There we go. My widget list. Run that. See what it says. Build error. Okay, there is no header template yet. Right, so we need to add that. Not repeater in my data list. So let's add a header template. This is a render fragment. Header template. And it's a parameter that you can pass in. So run. And I want to see this say that it failed because it didn't find the correct number of table cells popping out. And we'll start building then the header template that's being output. Failed. Should be 4 but was 3. Okay. So now I can go back over here to my data list and I can say if header template, if there is a header template, let's just write header template just to well, the way to make this work without actually doing anything, right, to make that would be to do another trtd here. Run this. I should also verify that it's a table being output. Now it's saying it should be my widget list, but nothing was output. Cool. So now, if I actually tell it, output the header template here, that should work. And this very much back and forth test fix is the way that you should be doing test-driven development. So for the purposes of a DataList component, this is behaving good enough. So let's commit this. Initial DataList displaying in one column read-only mode. One column table-based. And it's clearly not done, so I'm not going to merge it in just yet. So let's push that and call it a day today. Let's call it there. We've gone really long, and I'm really happy with how things performed, how things worked today. So we built our repeater control. It's missing the enabled invisible feature. We'll go and add that back in later. It's a simple fix out there if anybody wants to write that into the component. We started working on our DataList component. We've got that working and initially working. It doesn't do all the things yet. There's all kinds of stuff there around how the data flows and columns and the layout that we need to do, and we still have to get into styles there. There's a lot going on there that we're going to need to build, and we're going to end up spending a lot of time on this DataList component. But I'm really excited about how this is flowing, how this is working, how quickly and easily things are coming together, and we're getting them deployed and available for Blazor folks. If I was working through this diligently and focused and not explaining as I go how things are working, I could definitely move through this a lot faster, and I may take some time and build some more of the features for the DataList component outside of the work that we're doing here on stream. I do have a presentation that I have to give later tonight at the Philly.net user group. That will be streamed on the Philly.net channel, both here on Twitch and Mixer and wherever you can find them. Keep an eye out on my Twitter. We'll rehost that channel over here. It's the same presentation that I gave 2 weeks ago in Arizona, but I think you'll still find it interesting, and we'll be talking to the folks here in Philadelphia. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching. This was really great today. Let me see who's out there on Twitch that we can raid. And we'll set up that raid so that we can watch some more live coding here. Let's see. You know what? Here's somebody. I want to raid somebody creative that we haven't raided before. Somebody who's just getting started. Is a member of the crafting community, and you know what? I'm happy to call a friend. Let's see if she's up and running here. Yeah, let's see who we can raid. Sorry, Chaotic Good Boy. Oh my goodness. Yeah. You know who we need? This is who we need to raid. She absolutely needs a pick-me-up. Let me put the raid call out. And we're going to raid... We're going to raid Bonsai Baby. Friends, if you haven't seen Bonsai before, she is a... And it's not doing it. There we go. She's a maker. She's a very creative person here on Twitch that builds all kinds of really neat stuff, whether it's cooking, woodworking, all kinds of great stuff. Get ready to turn down the volume on your headphones because she can be a little loud. All right, friends? She's just getting started. If you go in there and if you follow, she's got a Connect 4 game that all of her new followers get to choose moves in and get things started over there. Get welcomed in and become a part of her community quickly. All right. This video, like all my other videos, will be over on the YouTube channel a little bit later. I'm moving a lot over there. There's stuff that's in the queue ready to be released, and I will be releasing those in the next day or two. I really appreciate all of our cheers, all of our subs today. Of course, we're going to make donations to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. But until I see you tomorrow, take care.